Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I haven't as much as glanced at the NBA today, other than a little bit of content about the Lakers beating the Charlotte Hornets, which was something that prompted me to speak a little bit about how important starting lineups are in my mind and how important they're not, just the same. And you know, one thing that's coming to mind, ain't got nothing to do with that, is the Golden State Warriors. And how bad they looked against the Miami Heat. Now, I can't tell you exactly how bad that game was because I didn't watch it. But I can tell you how the reaction was to that game. And I can tell you that nobody scored over 13 points for the Golden State Warriors. 5 players in double figures, but only like 13 points at the very most. And when you have that be the case, you find yourself in a situation where you're looking at the team and you're saying to yourself, nah, there's something wrong there. Now, I want to inform everybody that Moses Moody was the name that I couldn't seem to remember when we were last talking about the Golden State Warriors. Moses Moody. Couldn't remember the man's name for nothing, but I knew he was a two-way guard, played some shooting guard, played some small forward at times. Impressed against my Lakers, and would love to have him on the team someday, but he's a Golden State Warrior that I think is being underutilized severely right now. And looking at the comment section of the last Golden State Warrior game, I think a lot of Warrior fans feel the same. Moses Moody should be one of your main use pieces. And that's why I think when I look at what they have, I look at Podziemski, I look at Moody, I look at Kuminga, I look at the young fella Trace Jackson Davis, and those are the names that come to mind for me of the new school Golden State Warriors. The team members that make me excited about Steph Curry's overall team going forward, if for some reason they do decide to move on from the core. Those guys make for a nice lineup next to him. Now, I know Kuminga, you know, there's some issues with Kuminga's fit. I never really thought he was a Golden State type of dude, to be honest with you. Maybe you can afford to move on from him and maybe get in another piece, young player that kind of fits what they're doing a little better. Maybe you try packaging him with somebody else, try to get yourself a Lauri Markkanen. You know, that's the kind of vision I would have for the Golden State Warriors. They do have some attractive pieces outside of these young fellas. You put Klay Thompson, you put Draymond, you know, you couple Kuminga. Those 3 pieces, without any picks at all, should be able to get me some of anything I want. Now, granted, Draymond's value is a little scared by the fact that he's got the issue, behavioral stuff and all of that. You don't really know if you're really rolling with him being an impactful player without shooters around him. You don't really know if you trust him to be there in the big moments because he tends to disappear as it pertains to his focus on keeping himself eligible for basketball play. You know, he's getting some counseling for himself right now, and hopefully that counseling is effective in helping him know what his limits should be. But I have my doubts there, and I think a lot of organizations may. But just the same, if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I want to move forward with more shooting as my core. Not necessarily everything I'm doing surrounding shooting, but if I can get a Markkanen, I'm going to grab it because he's the best shooter, maybe arguably in the league, not on the Golden State Warriors. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I want for my core. If I'm going to be spending $300-400 million worth of players, it should be on some of the best shooters to keep that going. That's why I think Kuminga could be moved. Draymond could be moved, and I can go get myself that Markkanen piece. Now, maybe I have to send him to a third team because I don't know if they necessarily fit on the Jazz, but that's not the problem. The point is that value can go out, and I can bring those players back in, and with the third team's help, we can get the Jazz whatever the hell they want. So that's the type of thing I'm thinking about if I'm the Golden State Warriors. They should have drafted LaMelo Ball 3 years ago. I cannot stress this enough. There's no reason at all, that day nor any other day, should they have been thinking about Wiseman over LaMelo Ball's talent when you consider what LaMelo Ball actually is. A scorer, a shooter, a setup guy, somebody who basically they hired Chris Paul to be, which is a point guard outside of Steph Curry that can get Steph the ball in his shooting pockets. I would have loved to have seen LaMelo grow up in that system instead of that god-awful situation he's in Charlotte. It had 2 rings by now. So for me, I just think that was something that you'd love to undo if you're the Golden State Warriors. There's no reason for you to have had LaMelo Ball in striking distance. Everybody and their grandma knew that he was a talented enough player to take over a center like Wiseman, who already had issues. Wiseman was a center who didn't really have a whole lot of strength to his game, and we're seeing that in Detroit. Him getting pushed around, not rebounding the ball, kind of being tall for nothing, to be honest with you. And he ultimately didn't do nothing with him. He played, a couple games with the Warriors in between the knee injury. It's one of those situations where you look at the Warriors and you say, that was something that should have got somebody fired. Taking Wiseman over LaMelo that night should have got somebody fired, in my humble opinion. It should never have been done, man. Should have never been done. But nevertheless, you zoom forward and you still like what the Golden State Warriors have. You just understand that they ain't turned Wiseman into nothing. They ain't turned him into nothing. At the very least, they could have turned LaMelo into something. You could have traded him for God knows what else on top of whatever you got back for Wiseman. If he would have turned into half of what he turned out to be as a Charlotte Hornet, you could have still got a couple first round picks for him if he didn't fit on your situation. So you just got to understand, even on draft night, sometimes you just got to understand what the more valuable piece is based on the NBA itself. You can go for upside, you can go for length and all that. But if you got a dude that's built for the league, then damn it, there should be no other thing that you're doing other than bringing him to you. And if for some reason he doesn't fit, you can trade him right away for something that makes sense for you. So that's why I believe in going after what's a surefire bet in the NBA. The most talented player, in some cases, will be the best one to take. I feel the same way about, to a degree, not really. I'm gonna retract my thought without actually even saying it, but there are always situations you can do where you could take a player that everybody wants, more so than something that you think is best for you, and then trade it for something that you do think is best for you and some, because of how much everybody wants it. So that's really all I'm trying to say in regards to that. Sometimes you draft for fit, sometimes you draft to trade. Literally draft to trade. That's what I think. You don't always draft for fit. Draft because you know the whole market wants this guy and you can trade him for twice what it is you paid for him. That's why you draft him in some cases. So, I don't know. I look at the Golden State Warriors and I say, you guys made some key mistakes, but you've also had some things break your way. The best thing you can do for yourself right now is start trading people away. Make moves to make your team better. The pieces you have are valuable. If you're not going to use Moses Moody properly, trade him to somebody who will. Moses Moody would be a fantastic Laker, man. Him in the lineup next to Austin Reeves. Him in the lineup next to Max Christie as a small forward. Man, I would love to have Moses Moody on this team, man. That's the type of player I want the Lakers to get. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors want to hold on to him, but they also don't want to give him the minutes he deserves. Frustrating, man. And I know there are other teams who feel the same way about Rui Hachimura. As I look around at my team barely playing Rui, we finally started him in the last game. He had a plus 35. If we would have been starting him the whole time, who knows how much better our team would have been, how much more active our starting lineup would have been if we would have just had this man in a position to start the whole time. That's all we need to do is start him. Because off the bench, it's harder for him to get his feet under him, more or less. And where he's at his best, in my opinion, is in the paint. You put him in the paint and let him bang around with people, and you find out he has a similar effect as any other strong power forward. He's got a big body, he's not afraid to be physical, and he puts his head down and he gets work done. And that's what I like about Hachimura. So I know his contract is favorable in a trade. He keeps us from having to throw in Austin Reeves, which is fine. But I tell you the truth, if we can just simply not trade him and maybe find a way to get somebody to take some of the stuff that we otherwise don't want and bring us back some pieces we like, that'll make me very happy. Here's the thing, the Lakers are looking to get Royce O'Neal and Dorian Finney-Smith. I think Dorian Finney-Smith is a fantastic piece to have. Royce O'Neal has shown me he can hustle and play hard. But if it comes down to it, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not trying to move Rui in that trade. I don't see that as an upgrade from Rui Hachimura. Now, it may be an upgrade in some areas. Like, for example, they're both better defenders than Rui in theory. But are they as consistent scorers? Dorian may be. Royce is not. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem. And you're going to give the Brooklyn Nets a younger, less injury-prone piece, because most of those guys have had injury issues, more consistent piece. And I don't think it really translates to what you think it does if you're the Lakers. I don't think so. I don't think it translates to what you think it does. But at the same time, if you're bringing those guys in, you're diminishing Rui's role. So it's like, I got to ask myself, do I really want those dudes in place of Rui? Honestly, I don't. I look at Rui as a less proven player that can go up to a higher upside than those guys. That's what I look at. Rui's a 30-point scorer if you give him enough looks. And I think that if you have Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal with a healthy Bron and AD, you're good. But I can't count on them to make us any better if I try to focus in on them with those guys out. They're just role players. Rui's somebody who can be somebody I give the ball to a bunch of times, and he'll walk out of there with 40 points. If I give him the ball enough, if I spam him enough and get him his ball in his spots enough, he's going to get 40 points. He can be the bulk of my scoring. Maybe not every night, but I think as he develops, he'll be more reliable and consistent in that way so long as he stays healthy. Dorian Finney-Smith, he hit some threes, but I can't count on him to give me no 30 points. Royce O'Neal, he'll lock somebody up, but I can't count on him getting no 30 points. And that, for me, it's like we don't have a problem doing defense. We have a problem offensively. So it's like, if them dudes ain't no pure scorers, and they don't have the upside of Rui, maybe I can bring one of them in and keep Rui, but bringing them both in and sending Rui out, you will be better so long as your team is fully healthy. You will not be better when those guys are out. When Bron and AD is out, or when one of them's out, your team's going to be worse. And that's my concern. It's like, if our goal is to booster what a healthy Bron and AD team looks like, fine. I don't know that should be the goal, more so than to make a AD-less and Bron-less team more capable of winning games without them. I think that's a more important way of strategizing. I genuinely and generally do. Because even if you bring a team to these guys and make them look good while they're on the floor together, you're counting on them to be healthy, and that is a bad bet. For Anthony Davis, he looks great, he's playing great, but counting on him to be healthy is a bad bet. Bron at 39 years of age, he's going to be 30 tomorrow. Counting on him to be healthy is a bad bet. I would rather make my team more competent without them. That's what seems like a safer bet to me. That way, if they're not there, we still winning games. Don't bring me pieces that only complement them, because I can't count on them. If anything, I'm counting on them not being there. So that's how I'm looking at that. I think a team with Dorian Finney-Smith is going to lose 1,000,000 games in a row if he don't have stars on the team. Team with Royce O'Neal going to lose 1,000,000 games in a row if they don't have stars on the team. Rui Hachimura can help win the game. If your third and fourth is Austin Reeves, D'Lo Russell, Rui can beat the Rockets if he's on if he develops properly and goes on a hot streak. The way he's capable of being efficient, he can be the 34, 35-point scorer. It's already proven. We've seen it. So for me, it's like, just because our coach in random 2023, 2024 season can't find a way to utilize Rui properly does not mean I want to give him away in year one of his contract when I know he could probably 2-3 years down the road be a player that can be my number 5. Not to mention that he's probably our number 5 right now. We're just not using him properly. What I've seen from him in the playoffs helps me understand that he can hit shots, man. Hey, if your problem is offense, getting rid of him don't make no damn sense. He's one of the few players on your team that can actually do some things on the defensive end and score a lot. Not a bad defender. He has limitations defensively because he needs to play the 4, a lot of people believe. Although I think he's better against smaller players than people give him credit for. I've seen him get blown past too. It is what it is. but I don't look at him as a one-way guy. So my intentions for Rui have to be, if I'm going to have you matching salary to go out, yeah, for sure I want to bring back a Dorian Finney-Smith and a Royce O'Neal. But I also want to be bringing myself a DeJounte Murray and maybe a Zach LaVine. You know what I mean? You got to be going out so that when I bring in what I bring in, there's going to be some scorers there. Because if it ain't no scorers there, and I'm counting on these guys in your stead, that don't make no sense to me. Not for what it is that I think I need, what I believe my team needs. Dorian Finney-Smith, an upgrade from Taurean Prince. If I can trade him out for Taurean Prince, of course. But I'm trading him for Rui? Oh, no. Nah, fam. And as I've already said, I don't think you can have all three of them on the same team, get the most out of all three of them. They're going to be asked to sacrifice too much. So that's the problem. It's pretty much either or. So, as a fan of the LA Lakers, I'm telling y'all, if we can make it make sense to where we're bringing all those guys in at the forward position, have them all, it's great. But when you got your team surrounded by Bron and AD, if those are the two guys that are your most important pieces, then the last thing you need to be doing is bring yourself 4 and 5 forwards that are going to be underutilized on the squad. You don't need wings. You need a center. That's the problem with the Lakers. They're trying to target more wings. That's not my problem. I need centers, bro. Straight up, I need centers. I need somebody who can shoot. And while Dorian can shoot, he's more so somebody that I think is going to look to boost my defense and possibly hit some shots. Not a pure shooter like Markkanen or some type of Klay Thompson, Steph Curry type entity. Nah, that's not who that is. And if that's who we're hiring him to be, then we're probably going to be disappointed. So that's my concern. I'm a big Dorian guy. I was a Dorian guy when he was with Dallas. I felt Dallas should have never let him go, really. Of course, you had to bring back Kyrie Irving, so it just was the cost of business, and that's a good trade. But, you know, they didn't have no defense without him. That's what they had him for. He was their best defender, and occasionally he hit like 5 threes in a game. But it wasn't like they were giving him the ball to hit, 50% from behind the arc or something like he's supposed to save you from your shooting woes. That's not who I know Dorian to be. He's just a upgraded offensive version of Vanderbilt. A Vanderbilt that shoot threes. But the defense is where he make his money. Why are we trying to get better defensively? I don't need to get better defensively. I need two-way guys. And while Dorian is definitely that, if his three is falling, he could give me some scoring. I can't count on him to score like I can count on Rui to score. No. Rui's numbers are what they are because we've underutilized him. We barely play him. We don't start him. We treat him like he's some type of B-level role player. You know what I'm saying? He should be getting all of Taurean's minutes. To be honest with you, everything Taurean's done should have more or less been Rui, and everything Rui's done should have more or less been Taurean. If you would have utilized him that way, you'd have got the most out of Rui. You could get twice as much for Rui as what we're going to ultimately trade him for right now. That's another thing. We didn't play that dude up to his maximum. And we started the season with him hurt. So for me, it's like, I'm not interested in trading Rui Hachimura in any trade that I'm going to be doing right now, unless I'm bringing back DeJounte Murray, to be honest with you, or something better than that. Because the way I see it is, if I'm moving Rui right now, this is right before he's about to play up his trade value. This is right before he plays up his trade value. And I think the only reason why they probably even put him in the starting lineup is to play up his trade value. So don't do it now. You wait to the trade deadline and then move him that day or the day before the trade deadline, that week before, when the big trade usually comes. Unless you got a surefire bet that's going to make you happy. Now, for me, DeJounte Murray is definitely going to make me happy. I like DeJounte. I'm a big DeJounte fan. I know what he can do when he has the backcourt to himself. Problem is, depending on how we run things, he might not. And if we're going to have him here and then to decide, okay, now it's time to move Austin to the 1 and have DeJounte playing the 2, that's what I'm worried about. And what you going to ask DeJounte to do? He is a starting point guard in this league. He's about 26 years old, starting point guard. Not what the Atlanta Hawks tried to turn him into, but more so what the San Antonio Spurs had him doing the first couple years of his career, as to which he made an all-star team because he was a fantastic two-way player. You want him on the floor to do all of those things. not just kind of be a complimentary piece to a guy like Trae Young who's going to jack up 40 shots a night. No way. You give him the ball, let him work his rhythm, let him drive to the bucket. From what I understand, he's not the greatest finisher on the inside. He's going to miss a couple layups, stuff like that. That could be a little frustrating, but he's going to get in the passing lanes. He's going to use his athleticism and speed. He's going to hit his mid-range jumpers, and he's getting better by the second to catch and shoot situations. He's improving in that way, for which is a good sign that a guy can get better at things he's not great at. So that's a trait you look for. If you're trying to put together a big three, you want to know that your third guy can be somebody who can work on his weaknesses. And that's what it impresses me about DeJounte. So I would be happy to pay a good price for him, especially given the fact that I'm pulling Austin out of the trade possibilities. Now, I've seen a lot of trade. I saw a trade rumor this morning that Johan Bruja, I guess, put up. I saw it from a third party, but they said they got it from him. Essentially what it said is that we're going to be sending out, there's a big trade. It was a bunch of dudes going to Toronto. I think it was Austin. Let's see, it was Austin, D'Lo, Rui, and maybe OG Anunoby going to Rui and somebody else going to Toronto. It had Siakam going to the Hawks, and it had us getting, there was OG Anunoby going to Chicago, and then we were getting Zach LaVine, DeJounte Murray, and Drummond. Now I can tell you right now, that is a fair trade, but it's not one I'm doing. Why? Because I'm not giving up Austin Reeves in that situation. I'm not. I'm going to blow that trade up by holding out on Austin Reeves. And if I am inserting Austin Reeves into that trade, Drummond's not who I'm bringing back at the center position. It's Siakam. And I don't know if the numbers match on that or nothing, but I'm telling you, that's the level of talent I'm going to need back. If I'm sending Austin out, if I'm sending D'Lo out, if I'm sending Rui out, if I'm sending Max out, damn it, I'm not going to be the guy getting back the Drummond piece. I'm going to be the guy getting Siakam, DeJounte, and Zach LaVine. And to be honest with you, that's too far pro-Laker. If I'm a Raptor fan, I'm saying of course not. If I'm a Chicago fan, I'm saying hell no. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's me. That's what I'm taking back. I'm going to soup it up so the trade looks best for me, because I'm giving up something I don't want to give up. And I'm taking back something I don't want in Zach LaVine's contract. So it ain't going to be me taking back no damn Drummond. No, I'm taking back Siakam. And so that's where it becomes a problem, because it's like, I know that trade is never going to look the way I want it to look, so I'm not making that trade. I'm not making that trade. But what I can do in that situation is withhold maybe Rui and let them keep Drummond. And then just take back DeJounte and take back Zach. And then maybe insert this dude, hurt dude from the Heat, Vincent. I'll give you Vincent's contract. That's how I move, because I'm not going to be doing nothing that doesn't make me happy, sending out stuff I want to keep. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to do it. So like, that's the problem with me if I'm a GM. If I know there's something in this thing that I'm bringing back that I don't want, there's no way in hell I'm sending out a bunch of stuff I do want to keep. It's not happening. I'll hold up the trade. Because at the end of the day, the trade has to be something that makes me happy. And if the trade don't make me happy and I'm cutting off my arm to bring back a leg or something, that don't make no damn sense to me. It don't make no sense. And so that's where I'm coming from when it comes to this trade. I'm cool on that. Johan Bruja, y'all gotta have to draw up something else. If you want me to send out Austin, I'm bringing back some pick equity and swaps on top of that crap that I'm getting back, or good stuff that I'm getting back rather. Because Zach LaVine's contract is that trash. You feel me? That's how real it is. And I don't look at Drummond as some plus asset, man. I'm telling y'all, Drummond looks great right now because he's rebounding the ball. I like rebounds. But if he's going to turn the ball over for every time he rebounds, then what the hell am I really bringing back? I already had Drummond on my team. I know what he looks like. We were okay, fam. Okay ain't nowhere near good enough. So if I want a center who's going to fill in for Anthony Davis, I done already seen what Drummond looked like in that situation. I'm cool. That don't move me. I need somebody that is. I heard another trade today that I don't think came out of anywhere real, but it was a fan. Fan was essentially saying, we bring back Jakob Poeltl, bring back Dennis Schroeder's contract, and then they ship out Austin Reeves, D'Lo, and a first rounder or something like that. Like, hell no. Hell no. This type of stuff, there's no way I'm doing that. First of all, I won't keep Austin Reeves, so I'm not sending him nowhere unless I'm getting back something that's a lot better than him. Second of all, I'm not giving out trade equity to fulfill a center position, even though I really need a center, because I know that there's a good chance that our coach ain't going to use that center to the best of his ability. That's the problem. And I'm not big on Jakob Poeltl that much, to be honest with you. But it's not about downplaying whatever his value is. It's about understanding that once I bring something to me, is it going to be worth the same damn thing? And the answer is, I don't think so. Not with this coach. No. So it's like, for me, what I need to do as an analyst is bring you a solution for the center position. And to be honest with you, I haven't come up with anything that I really like. I haven't. Clint Capella, I've heard too many bad things about Clint Capella in Atlanta right now to think that he's something that I should pay anything more than what I want to give to get right now. There's a guy in Orlando that I think is pretty solid. Wendell Carter is cool because his contract's amazing. But I don't know that he's the answer. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's not. The guy behind him, the center, I can't think of his name right now. I hate when this happens. But shot blocking center played well against us, rebound the ball very well against us. He might be pretty good to bring in the backup center that they have in Orlando. But if I'm Orlando, I'm not moving him. So it's like, I got to come up with something. I have yet to give you guys a solution for the center position, but I'm pretty sure there is one out there. You know, and you look at a player like Jalen Duren, injury issues. Detroit loves him. They probably don't want to move him. But like, he's the type of dude I'll be like, all right, let's do something with Detroit since they need to make a move. Go ahead and see if they'd be willing to give us Duren, but they're not. They still value Duren at a high level. And I don't know if I value him the same way they do. I don't know that I do. I know he's a hell of a center. But in this era where you need to space the floor, I don't know that he can really shoot. I don't think so. I'm pretty certain he can't. So if he can't shoot, he's a throwback Dwight type dude. How does that help me when Anthony Davis ain't necessarily a shooter, Bron ain't necessarily a shooter? If I want to have shooting issues, I just keep what I got. So it's like most of the centers that I can think of don't stretch the floor. And you could get a guy like maybe like Kelly Olynyk. Kelly would be kind of cool, but I look at him as a backup. Come in, score 25, maybe even have some fantasy relevance for about 3 weeks before going down with injury. It's a pattern with him. So if I don't trust him to stay healthy, do I trust him to be healthy when it matters most? No. So durability becomes an issue when they start talking about Kelly Olynyk for me. It's durability. Getting him, good piece. Healthy, cool. If he's not healthy, we got a problem. And so that's the problem with Kelly Olynyk. And does he make teams better? Nah, he doesn't make teams better. He can booster a team that's already really good, especially if he's put in the right rotation, but he ain't defending nobody. So it's like, who at the center position do I want to give up valuable pieces to get back? And the answer is, if they ain't a star, they're probably not going to be somebody I want to bring back for nothing. I may be willing to give you my center, like Jackson Hayes, but you're not going to give me back anything good for Jackson Hayes. You're not going to give me nothing good back for Christian Wood, necessarily. Not the way our coach been using it. So it's like, okay, what can I do to boost in my center position? It's going to make me so good without giving up so much. And the answer is, I have no idea, man. Anybody that this man's going to use, I doubt it. not somebody he's going to use. See what I'm saying? So who do you use in a trade? Who do you want to give up in a trade? Okay, you can throw him in for D'Lo. Maybe you're bringing back something else, and the center also. Cool. But anything aside from that is probably not going to... Like, I'm not targeting a center. Because honestly, centers just don't hold the same value. Unless they're an MVP candidate. Like Jokic and Embiid, Wemby, and all them dudes. You know, Chet. You ain't getting none of them. I look at a guy in OKC that I wouldn't mind having. Jay Will at the center position. But he's more of a power forward, and OKC is not inclined to do anything for me. Why would they give me a nice young asset? For what? Like, what the hell? They ain't gonna give me that player. They probably gonna ask for Austin Reeves and pick equity. Like, I'm not doing nothing stupid like that. So, nah, that's not gonna work, man. So as a Laker fan, I'm looking around, I'm just saying, I don't know what the solution is at the center position. I really don't know. That's why I low-key was hopeful that Derek Lively would have fell to us. Of course, Dallas wasn't stupid enough to let him fall past them, but you know, this is why he was such an important piece in the draft, because you knew he was going to be the next good center out there because he could stretch the floor, block shots, rebound, dunk the ball, catch lobs, all that. And they just don't come a dime a dozen. In a league where the center position is devalued, a lot of these dudes don't, you know, they don't really hold a lot of value in this league. So that's what comes to mind, man. I just don't know what the solution is for the center position. I got to canvas the league in a much better way to come up with something that I would be willing to trade for. Because I don't see nothing right now. I don't see a thing. And so that's really what it is for me. You can maybe get like a stretch four that might have defensive capability, but then again, who's going to give you that for what you have? You know, I don't find myself looking at the Laker war chest and saying we got the most valuable stuff in the world. I really don't. You know, we got to start giving away people like Austin Reeves. You got to start giving away that first round pick in order to really get back something that you want. And as far as I can tell, Bron is what, 39? AD is going to be 30? You don't want to give away nothing that has to do with 2029 at all, unless it's young enough for you to retrade for somebody else's 2027. You see what I'm saying? So that's why DeJounte Murray looks like a piece I would want, because I think I can essentially trade him for more picks than I'm getting him for. You know, for whatever it is I'm getting him for, I can play his value up if I give him the right role and we do something big in LA while Bron and AD's here. Now he's going to be a two-time All-Star after he leaves our team. You know what I mean? We go to retrade him. Maybe we can get him for 3 picks and a couple swaps for him if we play up his value properly. And with the trajectory his career is headed, yeah, he's going to be better than he is right now. Especially since they got him in a half role with the Hawks. He's going to be much better for us than he is for the Hawks if we play him right. So that's why you go for DeJounte, because you know he's in a role that has his value down. As to where one could say the same thing about Zach LaVine, but then I'll raise you his injury history and his issues and what he's shown on the basketball court, which haven't been overly successful with the circumstances he's been in. You know, I'm not necessarily high on him, coupled with his contract being bad. Now, if he had a contract I like, then I'll adjust that and be excited about Zach LaVine. You feel me? I'll adjust that and be like, yo, like let's say DeJounte Murray was on Zach's contract. No, I don't want DeJounte that bad. Hell no. Staying away. And so it's two different things you're assessing. It's the player fit and then it's the contract fit. And what it can be worth when you try to retrade it. And if that player ain't going to exceed that contract, then I don't want that player. You know, it's the same thing I say about Jeremy Grant. Like, Jeremy Grant's contract is no good. 5-year deal, 30-something plus $1 million for him. He's a nice piece. I could slot him in properly next to AD. He could play the 4, AD play the 5. And then the 5 position is different for AD at that point. But why the hell do I want that contract? The contract's going to have me locked up. My role player's going to be trash. Why the hell do I want that contract when I don't have picks to draft players that I know are going to be serviceable to make my bench up? See, the only way I make a trade like that is if I got a bunch of picks in its stead. I got Jeremy Grant, yeah, and the rest of my team is trash only for a time until I trust my scouts to draft stuff that can be on rookie contracts that ultimately make my team really, really good. You see what I'm saying? That's important. Only teams that should really be willing to have bad contracts are teams with a bunch of picks. Straight up. So that they can see where the talent is coming from. And so for me, it's like, nah, I'm staying away from Jeremy Grant. Somebody may say, well, what about Jonathan Kuminga for the Lakers? Can Jonathan defend? And do we have the role for him? Or is he just going to be in the same role with us as he is with the Golden State Warriors coming off the bench for AD and Bron? I don't see it. I don't see his path to doing well here. You know, he needs to be in a situation where he's given the ball, can break people down with his ball handling skills, for which are not showcased at all with the Golden State Warriors. Not showcased at all. And so it's just a lot of stuff. It's like, all right, man, what do I do for my team? What do I do? If I'm trying to get better as a Laker fan and I don't want to give up Austin Reeves, how am I getting better with Rui Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell and maybe Gabe Vincent's injury-prone contract as my key pieces without throwing in a Max Christie, without throwing in a first-round pick? Who is excited about some of the stuff that ain't looked that good in my uniform? Who's excited about the expiring contract of Taurean Prince, who's been shooting very well? But like, you know what I mean? The Lakers don't really have stuff that you're excited about unless you're willing to move something you ain't got no business moving. Now, if you want to start talking about trading AD, you can get back everything you want. You want to start about trading Blonde, you can get everything you want then. But until then, you saying you keeping certain people off the, you know, this guy's untouchable, that guy's untouchable. Nah, your war chest is untouchable. And so that's what I'm worried about as a Laker fan. The Lakers have made Austin Reeves untouchable. AD and Bron obviously not being traded. Anything else, if we want anything of value, we're probably going to have to throw in. We're just going to have to. And that's where it gets really tricky. And so that's why, to be honest with you, I'm so very frustrated with the Jalen Hood-Schifino pickup, his draft pick, when I know I could have turned him into somebody that's a lot more valuable out the gate. It doesn't matter that he hasn't had a good start. He's 19 years old and is a point guard. We weren't going to put him in a position to be himself even if he'd been healthy all year. So he wasn't a good trade piece when drafted. Cam Whitmore would have been a good trade piece when drafted. Cam Whitmore has a body ready to go. Jaime Jaquez, your older guy, big guy, has translatable skills. He's a body ready to go. And since you want to be the Lakers, a team that wants to always make trades all the damn time, you shouldn't be bringing you bodies that aren't ready to go. Things that are only going to help you 4 or 5 years down the road. The hell do I need Jalen Hood-Schifino 5 years from now? In my rebuild? He was never anything anybody wanted right now. Who needs him right now? Nobody. It's not a single team in the league that needs him right now. So why am I bringing him to me right now? That's the problem with the Jalen Hood-Schifino pickup. And that's what I wish I would have had on my mind when we drafted him. I was thinking about a lot of different things. But the fact that we were destined to want to make trades was not one of them. And now we got a piece, 16 overall pick, that probably ain't even worth that right now. He ain't even worth that. And so he's kind of just stuck here as a piece to maybe throw in. And thus I'm being forced to throw in pieces that I do believe in to keep from having to make up for what it is that otherwise he's not in the trade package. Unnecessary. Frustrating. So that's what I'm thinking about as a Laker fan. I just wish we would have taken somebody that was a bit more ready-made, somebody who had a bit more pop to him, athleticism to him, size to him, something that everybody wants, man. Instead of just some point guard that's going to have to develop slowly, come around after Bron is long gone so we could be a 500 team with him at the helm. That's just a stupid pick, man. And you really consider it. He was not necessary for us. We needed a point guard, but he wasn't going to be ready for our current needs. So needing a point guard was scared by the fact that your team could change a million different ways before he's ready to be that for which you otherwise think you need. And that's why I'm disappointed in myself. When I look back on my position on Jalen Hood-Schifino, I should have been more adamant about that being a bad pick for us. I should have been. But it doesn't mean the player can't turn into something. He probably will. It just ain't going to be right now. There was no role for him. and he ain't ready. And I knew that when I was doing homework on him. So yeah, man, this is a frustrating thing when I think about the Lakers. It's kind of depressing as a Laker fan because you know you ain't gonna get that much better with whatever trades you make unless you end up giving up something you have no desire to give up. I don't want to give up Max Christie. I don't want to give up Austin Reeves. I don't want to give up Rui Hachimura, to be honest with you. I don't want to give up none of that. I just want to bring in something that's gonna make me better. And so my 16th overall pick should have been good enough to where I don't need the needs I need, or I can send him out to bring back something I need. Because Miami don't have that problem right now. I'll tell you that right now. They don't have that problem. They can trade Jaime Jaquez right now. Golden State Warriors, if they want to trade Podziemski, they're going to get something for Podziemski. They're going to get something for Trayce Jackson-Davis. You feel me? Players that we had on the board that we skipped out on, that we had no interest in taking because of whatever thoughts was rolling around about Pelinka's mind. About Jalen Hood-Schifino or something. I don't know. Maybe we're in the West Coast, so the hood word and like a key phrase hood. I don't know, man. It don't seem like anything necessary to me. And so that's where I'm at with that, man. I'm frustrated with that. I hope the kid develops into being a fantastic point guard. I don't doubt that that's possible. By the time he's 27, 28 years old, if he don't have no real injuries, maybe he's an all-star or something, averaging 10 assists, something, whatever. He could be great. But what do I care about that in 2023, 2024? What do I care about that? I just need to be able to trade him. And the thing about this is, how many point guards do you think you're going to have an opportunity to draft between now and when he develops? like what are you going to develop him to be? Your second string backup point guard? Because you're probably going to have an opportunity for 3 and 4 stars between now and when he becomes that. As you can clearly see, we're trading for who? DeJounte Murray, right? What the hell we need a point guard for? If all we're going to do is turn around and draft and trade for a point guard. Type of stuff, man. Type of stuff. With assets that don't have nothing to do with that 16th overall pick. Type of stuff. So I don't know, man. I just think that I've been listening to people say, oh, the Lakers draft pretty well. Are you sure? Because Austin Reeves forced his way here. Who did we draft? Lonzo Ball over Jason Tatum and De'Aaron Fox? And y'all think that was a good trade? Y'all think that was a good draft pick? Obviously, you can't mess up the second overall with my guy, Brandon Ingram, with whom we traded away for the AD trade. You can't mess that up. He was the second overall best prospect. Kyle Kuzma, okay, that's good. I like Kyle Kuzma. NBA champion for us. But in the grand scheme of things, when I look back on Kyle Kuzma's tenure here, he played overall like the 22nd overall pick. He had so many games where he had 6 rebounds, 6 points, and like he didn't play like no superstar like he is right now for the Wizards. That wasn't the role we put him in. So was he really some knocked it out of the park kind of pick? Based on his entire tenure with the Lakers? He wasn't. Low key, he wasn't. And so these are the type of things I'm just looking at like, the Lakers draft, the stuff that knocked it out of the park. When you look at the Lakers, you're considering Austin Reeves. You're considering Max Christie, who they got in the second round. Of whom I can argue we still ain't used better than a second round pick. He hasn't been utilized to be better than that. He really hasn't. And like, I just don't know that we have drafted that well, man. Because when you remove Austin, who forced his way to the Lakers, and we did not draft him, he literally forgoed opportunities to go to the Pistons and different teams that wanted to draft him in the second round, went uneligible so he could be a walk-in for the Lakers, not draft pick. What did the Lakers do with their draft picks that makes people think they've been a fantastic drafting team? Because I can argue we've passed on players we had no business passing on during Rob Pelinka's tenure. Jason Tatum should be a freaking Laker. He's a Laker fan. And we passed him up and he's going to be an MVP candidate for years to come. De'Aaron Fox, we have to make trades to try to defend this dude. He's the main reason why the Lakers want speed and athleticism, because we can't stop this man. And you pass on him for Lonzo Ball? Come on, man. Come on. And I'm not saying I wasn't on board with that day. I would have been just as bad, but that's not the point. I need people to make better decisions than me. I'm not I'm not there. I'm not a professional. I need people to be able to see past the propaganda machine that was funneling Lonzo here, recognize that there were just better talented players there. We knew Jason Tatum was better than him. Everybody told us Jason Tatum was better than him. But we were hell-bent on moving with the machine that made sure that we just fell in love with the idea of Lonzo playing for the Lakers. And Lonzo played for the Lakers all of 2 years and ended up trading him in the Anthony Davis trade. Do you think we would have traded Jason Tatum in the Anthony Davis trade? I doubt it. Even though we did trade Brandon Ingram, we would have had them both. We would have had both Brandon Ingram and Jason Tatum, ladies and gentlemen. So no, I'm not overly enthused with Rob Pelinka's tenure as a drafter. No, I'm enthused with our scouts because I think they found some good pieces. Doesn't necessarily mean we always took the best ones we could have, because we didn't. So let's knock it off with this whole the Lakers drafted so damn well. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. Because if you look at what we just did right now, we probably did one of the worst picks in the whole damn draft right there. Based on our needs, based on what was available. So that's what I want to say, man. I want to put that out there. I want people to understand that. Man, we wasn't that great. Drafting damn basketball players, we wasn't that great. We could do better. We should do better going forward if we lucky enough to have some damn picks. For which we even forego most of them damn things. Nah, man. Nah. I'm not rolling. So these are things that have been on my mind over the last 24 hours. I've been thinking about my team and listening to people talk about my team. We got some growing up to do as it pertains to how we're viewing our asset class and what we'll be willing to give up versus what it is we expect to get back. We got to do better. We must. Otherwise, we're going to continue to suck. Or at least be okay while we have Bron and AD, which is unacceptable if you really think about it. You consider some of these teams. You imagine what OKC would have did if they had Bron and AD? With the talent they've been able to bring to themselves. Like, I don't know, man. It's like, yes, those are two players, great. You got those two Pantheon guys. But what are you surrounding them with? One-way pieces, okay guys. Gotta do better. So that's my attitude about my squad, man. You gotta do better. If we're gonna say we're one of the top tier teams, this, that, and the third, then we have to make sure that our war chest makes sense. We got to make sure that our coach can utilize that talent to the best of its ability so it's not losing value in our uniform. It's a lot of stuff we need to get better at, man. And I'm not letting us off the hook, not on this day. So that's all I got to say. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.